Good evening. I'm Laurel Adams. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the resident artistic director here, so welcome to this evening's adventure in tall tales. Is anyone a first-timer here? Yeah. Oh, wow. Yay! Well, thank you, and we hope to see you many more times. All right, a few housekeeping items. Please turn off your cell phones and no flash photography, please. In case you don't know, we do offer a hearing assist system. Just ask at the office. Emergency exits are beside me, up at the top of the stairs, and restrooms are located in the lobby annex. Now, did you turn off those cell phones? Yes. Double check. All right, big surprise. Do you want to win a full year of live entertainment for two? Yes. All right, well in that case, you're in the right place. We are raffling off 2 full 2027 season passes, and other prizes go along with that raffle. Tickets are $50 each, so grab yours in the lobby tonight or scan the QR code in your program so that you can purchase it online. Now the drawing will take place October 24th at Songwriter 64, but you do not need to be present to win. Now I want to make sure that you all know what's happening right around the corner after Peacock. We've just finished auditions for Sherlock Holmes, The Final Adventure. It's going to be a very strong cast, so you want to get your tickets for that. And August 29th is Feeling 22, a Taylor Swift tribute. September has something every single weekend, so mark your calendars. And also mark those calendars for the next Scribes on Stage, October 30th, stage fright. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram to get updates on all upcoming programming, and tag us on your social media posts, because that helps spread the word about the Peacock. We could not survive on ticket sales alone, so we want to thank our donors, our sponsors, the local merchants who place ads in our playbills and our concert programs. And we'd especially like to thank the donors who made our brand new speakers, our wireless mic system possible. If you would like to donate for something specific or just in general, please talk to somebody in the office. We also thank our volunteers, the performers, all the various behind-the-scenes crews, those who staff the lobby every single event all year long. We would not be able to continue without all of that support. Now, I'm going to be back after intermission to announce the winner of tonight's 50/50 raffle. But in the meantime, I want to introduce your host for the evening, Canute Rary.
Good evening. Well, howdy. Howdy. One more time. Howdy. Howdy. What about those ladies? Give them another big round of applause. I'm Canute Rary. I'm your host for tonight, and this is an exciting time. Those ladies, to give you a little background from John C. Campbell Folk School, they have danced in Denmark. They have danced in the parade in Washington, D.C. They have danced from young people, bringing young people in 4, 5, 6 years old, to today, us young people that are a little older. Yeah, yes. And they are going to be dancing again at the 40th annual festival in October, the first weekend in October at John C. Campbell Folk School, which is just celebrating 100 years. Isn't that amazing? 100 years. John C. Campbell Folk School. So we're really excited about these ladies. And if you just sit back and relax, we've got a little bit more. Ladies? warmed up just a little bit from all that dancing. Those ladies are so great. You know, we've been doing Scribes on stage for, for 4 years now. And we've done a lot of different variations. This is one of them. Of course, this is the best show yet. Yeah. So, you know, applause for that. So it's going to be a great show. And we, as Laurel said, we have an October show, Ghost Stories at the Peacock Stage Fright. We have a Tall Tales and Fools kind of show, which all includes music and storytelling and other things in April. But this is our summer show, Appalachian Tales, and we just wanted to bring you a piece of Appalachia. There's a variety of acts tonight to bring that to fruition. And we're excited to be here with you. And our first performer, and actually when I said she was a performer and entertainer, she said, really? Because she's an award-winning author. She is a writer and author, and you'll know her often from columns in the local newspaper, but she's been all over the place and done all wonderful kinds of things. It's Miss Marcia Barnes, and Marcia's going to be with us tonight, and Marcia, come on out. We'll have Marcia talk a little bit about Appalachia to kind of give you a background in regard and remind you of the different things that are happening in Appalachia. And Marcia, I'm going to go over there and get it. Thank you. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Canute.
Yes.
It's an honor to say a few words about Appalachia. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A question that comes to mind is, what's in your backyard, Appalachia? We're living in the southern terminus of the Appalachian chain, stretching from Newfoundland to central Alabama. And what's in our backyard could be deer, a bear, a fox, a rabbit, or a squirrel. And for those privileged to live here or stay here for a while vacationing, what is also in our bigger backyard is rafting on the Ocoee or Nantahala River or the Chattooga. The 57-mile free-flowing stream rising out of the mountains in North Carolina near Cashiers and famed for its primitive scenery. There's an impressive list of what southern Appalachia affords us. Golfing, horseback riding, fishing, boating, or maybe rounding the bend on a drive through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and seeing a herd of elk. We're in a year celebration. America is celebrating its 250th birthday, and Appalachia is celebrating too. What happened historically here was significant. In the winter of 1776, an early clash at Morris Creek Bridge in Curry, North Carolina, was a decisive Patriot victory. And on October 7th, 1780, the Battle of Kings Mountain was a major turning point in the Revolutionary War and their southern campaign. Then the largest, the most pivotal revolutionary engagement was fought in 1781 at Greensboro at Guilford Courthouse. So here we sit tonight in the beauty of the mountains and in the land of the free. Southern Appalachia, once a community of farmers, their small tracts of land were planted and harvested by a family, has evolved to small mountain towns and villages, but the rural nature of the western North Carolina mountains remains. It is seen in vineyards, vines watch, grapes edge along the water, cattle ranches are numerous, large and small, and Appalachian sustainable. Local farms dot our landscape, and they fill our tables. the seasonal vegetables and fruit. The Cherokee Homestead exhibit in Hayesville honors the Cherokee culture and language. The exhibits give a glimpse of how Native Americans and early settlers lived. From Clay County's Historical Arts Museum, a mural of 4th Principal Chief Nimrod Jared Smith looks over Davis Loop. Among the attributes that make up Southern Appalachia, there is an ever-increasing number of songwriters, musicians, artists, novelists, playwrights, storytellers, dancers, and poets. Behind me, Byron Herbert Reese, the American poet and writer, was author of 4 books of poetry, 2 novels, and nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. The modest farmer born near Blood Mountain also received the Guggenheim Award twice. Poetry might come easily for a farmer or a wilderness hiker surrounded in endless shades of green, flora, and fauna. One wilderness hiker who crossed Blue Ridge Gap said it this way: stepping out on the narrow road by foot, headed to the gap along the incline, curves abounding, stands an ancient barn resting, timbers leaning, my, can't stop to stare at your rugged face, your tilting bones. The road is calling to Blue Ridge Gap, marking the path, though not wide. Now the mountains keep my stride and begin to close right in with pastures of verdant green, running 1,000 feet straight up. My, oh my, can't stop to study the Pharaoh hue. Blue Ridge Gap calls me and you. The road once paved underfoot is just some gravel, dry dirt. It feels like soot. And summer's dry brush and briars push me in. Weariness watches to begin. Farmers dot here and there. Families gone to live elsewhere. My, I can't stop to cry. Blue Ridge Gap draws me. Look here, the way's washed out. Leather boots hug the ground. Jump the culvert, make a sound. Now, moist earth greets my feet, and trees are changed from dry to green. My, oh my, can't stop to hear the silence. Blue Ridge Gap is near. So, dear road, you angle down, leveling, to give a body rest. Precious forest, you open wide, river to expose, running slow and running wide, a shallow invitation to cross. My, can't tarry to swim and stay, on my way to a ridge where I can stop and pray. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcia. Give Marcia another round of applause. Marcia makes us take this moment and give pause. And our next performer in this evening of Appalachia looks at Appalachia from another side. How many of you have pushed away from the Thanksgiving table or walked out on the porch and sat down on the swing with the rest of the family, maybe even played an instrument or two, but certainly you all probably sat there and talked about fishing or farming or boating or the last place you visited. And that was all came along in a certain way that could be a little bit long if the fish hadn't been caught, or a little bit shorter if it hadn't. So our next storyteller is one of those storytellers that grew up and heard those stories, different stories on the porch. And of course, we all have cousins, and he's about to about to tell us a little bit about his cousins. And he also was, like so many beginning churches in Appalachia, he is a traveling pickup preacher most of the time. But tonight we've got stories with Delmer Chilton. So please welcome Reverend Delmer Chilton to the stage. Delmer? All right.
The right meeting, y'all, ain't it? Well, good evening. Tonight I want to tell you about my first cousin once removed. If you don't know what a first cousin once removed is, I don't have time to tell you. But you can ask somebody who grew up in Appalachia and they can explain it to you. Anyway, Mayday Mitchell was my first cousin once removed, and I want to tell you about the time that she accidentally seriously embarrassed her husband, William. Particularly, the way she did it was particularly bad for him since he was a ministerial student. William came back from World War II, having served in the South Pacific, with a badly mangled leg and a deeply wounded heart. And knowing that he could no longer farm like he intended to with his life, he decided to go to tiny little John Brown College in Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Now, when I was a kid, I thought it was named after, John Brown's body lies moldering in the grave. Different John Brown. That was, the abolitionist. This John Brown was born several years after the Civil War in rural Appalachia, got about a third grade education before he had to go to work, and he worked in blacksmithing and farming and doing different things, and he became eventually a traveling Methodist minister with a big following. He would fill up tent meetings and revivals, and he was well known, and he had a dream, and his dream was to give an opportunity for an education to people who grew up like he did. So he started John Brown College. It was an interesting place. There was no room, board, or tuition paid. You worked your way through. There was no cafeteria workers. There was no maintenance crew. The students did it all. In exchange for room and board, there was no tuition until around the Second World War. They finally started a little bit. So William decided to go there. And he did his GI Bill, paid for his tuition. And they had not had married students before the war, but they adjusted. They bought a bunch of Quonset huts, Army surplus, and put them in a kind of a circle. And they had kind of apartments for the married students. Everyone had a living room and a bedroom, and that living room was also a kitchen. It had a kitchen sink, but the rest of the running water facilities were in one central building that was called Latrine Facility 1. They had hired a veteran to build the place. And it had laundry, and it had showers, and it had toilets, and the laundries and showers were divided, gender-wise, and big laundry room. And well, one day, William, who always had to use a cane now, came limping home from his job in the maintenance shed where he kept various trucks and cars and buses of the school in working order, and he was filthy. He had been up underneath some truck and working on it, and between dirt and oil and all of that, he was just filthy. And he said, I'm not going in that hut and getting that place dirty, because maybe he'll kill me. So what I think I'll do, nobody's around, I'm just going to go in and get a shower first, and then I'll just wear my pants and a t-shirt and get on back to the house. So he went in, and Lord knows why he left his clothes in the laundry room instead of carrying them into the shower with him. He dumped them in the laundry room right by the door outside the shower. And he went in and got in the shower. And here came Mayday. She had washed a load of her dainties, and she was coming to get them to go back to the hut and hang them up inside, because you didn't hang them outdoors where God and everybody else could see the lady's dainties. So she got in there and she got her clothes and she put them in her basket, and she saw that pile of clothes, and she recognized him. That dang William Mitchell, he'll drop his clothes anywhere he is. And she grabbed him up without a thought of where William was, or why those clothes might be there. She tucked them under her arm and took them home. William got out of the shower and pushed that door open and reached out. And then he looked out, and Lord have mercy, what has happened? What am I going to do? Buck naked as a jaybird, nothing but the cane, and it wasn't covering anything. So he peeked around, he could see out the open windows, he was trying to see, is there anybody coming? He said, maybe there's something in the machine. It don't matter if it's wet, let's see if there's something I can put on to cover myself. He checked the machines, there was nothing. He looked around, he could see out the window, there was a rotating clothesline, and he could see one piece of clothing on it. He couldn't see what it was, but it was white. And he was going to go see what that, and then he heard somebody coming. And he ducked back into the showers. He got into a toilet stall and huddled in there. He figured he was safe from a woman coming in anyway. It was a teenage girl, and she took her blessed time getting ready for her date. She showered and she primped and she did this and that and the other while he sat there naked in there trying to figure out what he was going to do. She sang a lot of Sinatra songs. And finally she left. And meanwhile, he had come up with plan A and plan B. Plan A was to go to the window closest to their Quonset hut and yell, "Mayday! Mayday! Mayday!" That didn't work. She probably had the radio on. So he had to go to plan B, which was to go to the window closest to the rotating clothesline, take out the window screen, get his cane, and lean out the window, and without falling out, dropping the cane or exposing himself, rotate that piece of clothing around where he could get it off there with his cane. He almost did all three of those things, but he managed it. And he got that piece of clothing in. He was so delighted he'd gotten it till he took a good look at it. It was a lady's girdle. Several sizes too small. But at this point, it was any port in a storm. He wiggled himself into that thing, got it up where it could hold it, got his cane, and went walking that cane 50 feet across that yard where there were 15 of these Quonset huts, and it was time when people were beginning to come home. He got about halfway home before anybody spotted him. But by the time he got to the door, to the stoop, he had a following. And he got up on the little stoop they had and turned around and took a bath. And went inside. I first heard that story when I was about 10 or 12 years old. Maybe he didn't tell it to me directly. I was sitting on the porch outside the kitchen screen door, peeling and pitting peaches. Lots and lots of peaches. Because Mama and Mayday and Aunt Mildred and several other women were inside canning peaches for the winter. And when I heard the story, they were taking a break, drinking iced tea and eating pound cake covered in fresh peaches, while Mayday told them that story. And she got to the end and said, William came in and he sat down on the couch and caught his breath, sitting with his head down, and I was standing there holding my breath. And then he looked up and he started laughing. I didn't think he was going to quit laughing. You know, that was 1947, and that was the first time he had laughed since the war. He still laughs about it every now and again.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get that vision out of my mind. But we're going to carry right on to our next storyteller. And our next storyteller is going to tell us an Appalachian story. He's from Blairsville, Georgia. His name is Tom Lawrence. He's a Celtic storyteller, but tonight he'll be telling the story a little bit more close to home in Appalachia. Although, as you know, there are a lot of folks from Ireland and Scotland in this part of the world, and most of us are related to one or the other of them. So please give a big round of applause to Mr. Tom Lawrence.
That should work.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nudie, again for inviting me to this performance. Here in Southern Appalachia, we tell a lot of stories about a fellow named Jack. Most of you probably know at least one Jack tale, possibly one involving a cow and some magic beans. Jack and the... Exactly. That was one of the 18 Jack tales collected and published by Richard Chase in 1943. But you ask any storyteller around here, they'll say, oh, there's a lot more than 18. And Jack tales all came from the old country. Ireland, Scotland, Wales, on over into Germany, some on up into Scandinavia. That's why you'll get a Jack tale where Jack is making his way in the world with nothing but a nickel and a crust of cornbread. And then he'll also run across a king and a princess in a castle. All those things go together, and they became entrenched into Appalachian culture. I've pulled in Jack tales from Scandinavia, and this one may even be from further east into the Middle East, but they all have a pattern. Jack succeeds not because he's particularly strong or particularly brave or particularly smart, but he's clever and he's lucky, and his mama taught him good manners. So once upon a time, there was a king, and he liked nothing better than to disguise himself and walk out into his kingdom at night to hear what the people were saying. And sometimes he would go into the rich sections, and sometimes he would go into the industrial sections, and sometimes he would go into the poor sections where the ragged people lived. And this one night he happened to be down there, and he heard some joyous singing. And he thought, who could sing with such joy and contentment in a place as desperate as this? So he followed through the alleyways until he found this little tumble-down shack, and he knocked on the door. He said, is a stranger welcome here? And a young man in rags flung open the door and said, a stranger is a gift. Come in, come in, come in, have a seat. My name's Jack. And the king, disguised, went in and saw that the only furniture in this whole shack was a wooden box that Jack bid him to sit on to rest. And they had a little small talk for a few minutes, and the disguised king said, how do you make your way in the world? Jack said, oh, I mend shoes. You mend shoes? Where do you do that? Where is your shop? Oh, I can't afford a shop. I mend them next to the road. All my tools and supplies are in that box. I just go sit up next to the road. People bring me their shoes and I mend them. And does that pay well? Oh, about enough to buy one meal a day. A meal a day? Well, what about tomorrow? Tomorrow's tomorrow. I worry about today and live for it. So the king thought about that. He thought about that all the way back home into his own bed in his own palace, and he thought about it all night, and he thought, I will test his resolve. So he got up early the next morning and issued a proclamation of law. Anyone caught mending shoes next to the road would be fined 50 gold pieces. And he waited. And that night he made his way down to where the ragged people live again, thinking, oh, he will have changed his tune now. But once again he heard joyous singing, and he followed it to that shack and knocked on the door. Jack flung it open and treated him like a long-lost brother. Come in, sit, sit. I was concerned for you, my friend. I heard that there was a law that you could no longer mend shoes. He said, I was concerned for a moment too, but I thought, oh, something will come up, and then right then something did. Some people went by my shack, and I said, where are you going? They said, we're going out into the woods to gather sticks to sell in the market for kindling. So I asked if I could come, and they said yes. So I went out into the woods and I gathered sticks and I took them to the market and I sold them and I made enough to buy a meal. One meal, said the disguised king. Well, what about tomorrow? He says, my friend, with you it's always tomorrow. What about today? And the king thought about that all the way back to his palace. And as he lay in his bed that night, he thought about it and he thought, I will test him further. So the next day he got up and he issued a proclamation of law. Anyone caught gathering sticks will be conscripted into the army and not paid for 30 days. And he waited. And that night he went downtown, found his way back to the shack, knocked on the door. Jack flung it open. My friend, come in, please. I was expecting you. And the disguised king said, I heard there was another stupid law from our stupid king. How did you fare today? And Jack said, well, I was concerned. They conscripted me in the army. They gave me a uniform. They made me march up and down. And they said they wouldn't pay me for 30 days. Well, what did you do? Did you eat? And Jack said, yes, they gave me a sword and a scabbard. And the sword was good steel, so I sold the steel and replaced it with wood. And the king said, but what if they have a sword inspection or something tomorrow? And Jack said, always with you it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is greedy and wants to steal today from us. Don't let it. So the king thought about that. He made another plan. And the next morning, he called for the army to be mustered right out from his balcony in the courtyard. And there was Jack with all the rest of the soldiers. And the sergeant pulled him out of line and also pulled a prisoner out of the dungeon. He said, you there, I want you to execute this prisoner. He has done terrible crimes. And Jack said, I'm a simple man. I cannot take a human life. And the sergeant said, either you kill him or I kill you. So Jack said, very well, I believe this man has done no wrong. If he has, I will kill him. If he has not, may my sword be as wood. And all the people fell to their knees. It was a miracle. And the man was released, and Jack was praised, and the king slowly made his way down from the And he took Jack by the arm, and he said, yes, my friend, it is me. I am the king. And I want you to come live in my castle and teach me how to live for today. Now, these Jack tales usually have a moral, some sort of lesson, and the lesson for you, my friend, is if you want to find happiness in the present, don't look for it in the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom. Well, let's send him off with one more round of applause. As Tom said, Jack tales are filled with that little gem of wisdom that comes with each tale. And along the way, you get a good story. Well, next up, we are going to shift a little bit, and we are going to add a little music to our Appalachian evening. And we are honored and lucky to have a fella who started on one of those porches and lives in Tuscany, but in the process of Tuscany, he went on to Nashville, and he went on to national TV, and he was on The Voice as a contestant on The Voice. And tonight we're fortunate to have Dr. Paul Constantine with us tonight to make some music as we go on with the evening. So please welcome Dr. Paul Constantine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll get this. All right. You set and ready? Here we go.
Well, good evening, everybody. Way back in was on our minds. We lived our day in painted fashion, with old overalls and the cotton balls all scratching on your back. You know it's hard to make believe there ain't nothing wrong. Mama kept the Bible read, Daddy kept our family begging, somewhere in between I must have grown. And I just kept on dreaming a little song I was singing, takes me down the road where I want to go. And now I know it's a long, hard road. Sometimes I remember when we stayed up late at night. When summer came, we got up and went. In the shadow of our working days, our evening hours were spent singing songs along with Grandpa's radio. Now I'm thinking down an old blacktop road, sleeping in the sand. I'm living in my memories all in vain. With those city lights and all that bright, compared to what it's like to see them lightning bugs go dancing in the rain. Mama played the guitar then, Daddy made the song, they bang the raindrops, play the tin roof like a drum. And I just kept on dreaming a little song I was singing, takes me down the road where I want to go. And now I know it's a long, hard road. Grandpa, not necessarily my grandpa, but somebody's. He came down from old Virginia, a simple man with a simple plan. Took the land that the army gave him, made it with his own two hands. A saddle mule and a double shovel, cut the ground and made things grow. Took the rain that the clouds had given him, one drop in his halfway home. Kept meeting on a Sunday morning, sitting my mama on the front row pew. She called us out, 6 weeks later they both stood up and said I do. Grandpa's plan, there's no secret to live and make the most. What the good Lord's given, 'cause it's the gold that you hold in your heart and not your hand. That was Grandpa's plan. Whenever times are getting tough, nowadays the world turns faster, but that old man knew enough to show me I don't want my own plan. I'm a step that fits my style. Step out where your heart will lead you. Step up to the true and try. It ain't never been about the money, it ain't never been about the fame. It's about place and family, it's about a man's good name. Grandpa's plan, there's no secret to live and make the most. But what the good Lord's given, 'cause there's the gold that you hold in your heart and not your hand. Well, that was Grandpa's plan. Oh, it's the gold that you hold in your heart and not your hand. Well, that was Grandpa's plan. got time for one more, kid? What we doing here? One more? Sure.
Would you like to hear one more?
Oh, let's see. You all know Willie Nelson had a couple of sons. And one of them sounds just like Willie. I mean, just like Willie. And I had it in the back of my head that he's going to get a red pigtail wig and Willie's going to die and nobody's going to know it. But this song has some good advice, and I don't normally give any advice, and I don't take any either, but well, I believe that every heart is kind. Some are just a little underused. Hatred is the symptom of the time. Caught on these uneducated blues. And I just want to love you while I can. All these other thoughts have me confused. I don't even try to understand. Maybe I'll turn off the freaking news. Turn off the news and build a garden. Just my neighborhood and me. We might feel a bit less hardened. We might feel a bit more free. Turn off the news and raise your kids. Give them something to believe in. Teach them how to be good people. Give them hope that they can see. Hope that they can see. Turn off the news and build a garden with me. Trust, build trust. All this negativity is a bust. Trust, build trust. Don't you want to be happy? Turn off the news and build a garden. Just my neighborhood and me. We might feel a bit less hardened. We might feel a bit more free. Turn off the news and raise your kids. Give them something to believe in. Teach them how to be good people. Teach them hope that they can feel. Hope that they can see. Turn off the news and build a garden with me. Turn off the news and build a garden with me. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Are you clear? Let's go for it.
Good.
All right.
I didn't want to make that.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. It's good. All right. All right. Well, y'all know what time it is. Yeah. It's showtime somewhere. But, you know, from the cornfield to the glass jar to the NASCAR car today, they made a little moonshine. It was a whole lot cheaper to make moonshine and put it in a jar than it was to drive that tractor or pull with mules that wagon down the trail. So, unfortunately, we don't have moonshine out there at the refreshment stand. Yeah, but we got beer, and I really don't have enough to share here tonight. But let's take a 20-minute intermission. Enjoy yourself, visit with each other, be sure to meet a new friend, and have some refreshments on us and come back in 20 minutes. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's see you in a little bit. You know, Tom Edwards is a singer-songwriter here locally and within the region. He loaned me this banjo, and he said, be sure that Rob Tiger doesn't get a hold of it. And so the second thing is, I had to promise him that I wouldn't play it. So we thought we'd get you started with some dueling banjos, and we're glad you're back from intermission. But the real folks that are going to make some music here are the Wildflower Pickers. And you have got to hear these folks right now. So please welcome, give a big round of applause to the Wildflower Pickers.
Me and my brother here are part of our band called the Wildflower Pickers, and tonight we have with us the wonderful portion of our jam ensemble, the junior Appalachian musicians from the John C. Campbell Folk School. Woo! I would like to say that me and my brother were also part of jam for a very long time. We still are part of jam, but for This is going on our 4th year. My 4th year, your 6th year. We were students, but now we are assistant instructors. Having everyone introduce themselves and what instruments they play. So we're going to start all the way down there.
Hello, my name is Donovan. I play banjo and a whole lot of other string instruments.
My name's Mason, and I play banjo and a lot of other instruments that I'm not.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I play the guitar, and I also play a bunch of other strings.
My name is Sean, I'm playing the guitar, and guess what? I'll play a bunch of other strings.
My name is Nate, or Nathaniel. I'm gonna make it simple. I play fiddle and bass.
My name is William, and I'm up here. I'm playing the cajon drum, but I do play the regular drums. My name is Elizabeth. I play the fiddle and the cello.
My name is Emma, and I also play a lot of other instruments. They're not string instruments.
Very quickly say that the JAM program is a free program for kids in the Tri-County area, and well, Tri-State area even kind of. And it's completely free, and even if you don't have an instrument, we have plenty to loan out. So applications are already over, but if you want, you could try go for next session.
Kia Ben?
One man.
These young folks are the future of mountain music, traditional mountain music. And hopefully some will be coming back a little bit to pick a little later with you all. So, ready to go? All right. Well, we better take it. You go on and bring out some folks that are going to tell a ghost story next. All right. Great. Thank you. Give another round of applause. Thank you. Good. All right. Well, so give them another round of applause. That's amazing. Sometimes we invite people to perform on this stage and they just get carried away, but it's so great, isn't it? It's fantastic. We have always in Appalachia, there is an important element that we can never forget about Appalachia. That is, when it gets dark, things begin to look a little different. Yeah, we're sitting on it, and you know, and look, we got almost time for a full moon. Did you notice how that moon is just filling out? We're about 2 or 3 days from a full moon. But still, there are shadows. There's mystery. There's ghosts. So it would be amiss of us, and that probably isn't the word I just made up, remiss of us, that we would not have a ghost story. So next up, Amanda Lawrence from Blairsville, Georgia, storyteller emeritus, is here to gift us with a ghost story tonight. So please welcome Amanda Lawrence to the stage.
I haven't done anything yet.
It's good. Okay, great, good. You're fantastic.
All right, we ready to get a little spooky? This is one of my favorite ghost stories. And you'll find versions of it throughout Appalachia, but this one in particular is from East Tennessee. She had come into Harmon Moody's store the same time every night for a week, closing time, just as he was sweeping up the remains of the day. She was young, not more than 20, and tall but gaunt, and a little gray, in that way of people who've been through illness or done without food for a time. And she'd do the same thing every night. Place an old tin cup on the counter and say just one word, milk. Then Harmon would fill the cup, she'd leave a coin and drift on out the door, never even having looked him in the eyes. Who she was a mystery. And y'all, that was saying something. Harmon ran the only general store for miles around, so he knew every family in the area. But he couldn't place her or her people. The coins were a mystery too. All of them were old, 50, 100 years or more, and covered in earth. He wouldn't put them in the till, he'd take it to keeping them in a little box on the counter for further study. But the mystery that most interested Harmon, and the one that was hotly debated around the supper table every night at his house, was not who she was or where the coins came from, but what she wanted the milk for. Harmon's young son Johnny was certain he knew. He'd say, "I know what it is, Daddy, it's kittens." You remember when that mama cat died, we had to feed the babies? I think she's feeding kittens. And Harmon's wife, Mayella, would say, "No, honey, I don't think so. Harmon, you said she looks like she's been doing without food, but I am hard-pressed to think of anybody who would do that for a litter of kittens. I think it's a baby." Harmon would say, "Mayella, we have been round and round about this. We can't think of anyone in the area who's been expected." She'd say, I know. This is one of the mountain folk. You know they don't come down to town too often." Round and round they'd come. Well, finally, Harmon couldn't take it anymore. He had to know. So the next night, when the girl left the store, he followed her, but quietly and at a distance. She drifted on down the dirt road toward town, holding that old tin cup with the utmost care. The road was rocky and rutted, but she didn't seem to notice, even though, as Harmon noticed in the moonlight, she was barefoot. And then shortly before town, she cut off into the woods. Now that's where Harmon almost lost her. She must have been following some kind of path, but he couldn't see it, just kept stumbling in the underbrush. Just when he'd begun to wonder where in the world they were going, they reached the other side of the woods. And when he saw the field that opened out in front of them, he knew. Gunning's cemetery. He thought suddenly of those coins covered in earth. It must have been taken from the eyes of the dead. She went on into the cemetery, and y'all, that's where Harmon hesitated. Now, he believed in the resurrection of the soul just as much as the next church-going man. And he knew all that was out there was people's earthly remains, just the shells that had housed who they had once been. But still, he made it a practice never to go such places for fear of running into somebody who hadn't yet made it, either up or down. And so it was with no small degree of trepidation that he followed her. She passed on through the front section of the cemetery where the people who had a lot of money were buried in mausoleums. Then she went on through the middle section where the people who had a little bit of money but not a lot had headstones. She made her way all the way to the far back corner where the people who could afford neither mausoleums nor headstones were buried in unmarked graves. That was where the mountain folk laid their kin. And then as Harmon watched, she stepped up onto a grave that looked barely freshly dug and disappeared. Harmon fell back against the tree, his heart about to pound out of his chest. And then he heard something that made his heart stop altogether. The high, thin wail of an infant coming from that grave. He staggered to his feet. He ran back to the cemetery, back through the woods, back up the dirt road. He got to the store, jumped into his wagon, and he raced home, and he started hollering. As soon as he hit the yard, he started hollering, Mayella, get the lantern, I'll get the shovels. Come quick, woman, come quick. Mayella came running. Harmon, what is going on? He said, there's no time to lose. I'll tell you on the way. They stopped in town only briefly to collect the sheriff, lest they be thought grave robbers. And then the three of them entered the cemetery, filled with equal measures of purpose and fear. When they got to that far back corner, Harmon thought for a moment he must have been mistaken, because there were no footprints on the grave. But then they all heard it, the baby's cry, but weaker, just a breathy mewling. Mayella said, good Lord in heaven. And they all began to dig. They got down to the coffin. It was pine, cheaply made. When they pried the lid off, Harmon's heart stopped for the second time that night. It was the girl from the store, plainly dead, and had been for some days by the looks of her. She was curled on her side, her arms wrapped around the baby in a faded pink blanket. Beside them, an empty tin cup. The sheriff was the first to recollect himself. He said it could have been a coffin birth. It's rare, but it does happen. There's one in the county records from 100 years back. And then Harmon, who was equally eager for an explanation, said, Or, my granny told me the story one time about a mother and a baby, and they both took sick, and the mother died, and people thought the baby died too, but he didn't. He was just sleeping real deep, and Mayla said, Harmon, it don't much matter how it happened. We got to save that baby. The sheriff reached into the coffin to extract the child, but the mother's arms tightened, preventing him. Then the men began to talk of perhaps needing to break an arm or some other such expedient. But Mayla said, wait. She knelt by the coffin, reached in, brushed the mother's hair back from her face, and spoke gently. It's plain to see how much you love your daughter. You've wrestled down death just to feed her. I would have done the same. I'm a mother too. I have a son at home, and Harmon and I, we had a daughter, but we lost our baby girl last spring to the fever. I would have moved heaven and earth to save her, just like you did. Now you've done all you can, and it's time to take your rest and let your child come into the world of the living. She looked up at Harmon for a long moment. He nodded. She said to the mother, with your permission, Harmon and I will take her in, bring her up. I'll love her as my own, and I promise you, she'll never want for anything. With that, the mother's arms opened. Mayella lifted the child from the coffin. They never did learn the mother's name or her daughter's, but Mayella named the baby Dorothea, which means gift of God. And she made sure her daughter always knew that a mother's love is stronger than the grave.
Did you feel that cool breeze? I would say the last person we were going to have up here to tell a story tonight, a few moments ago, she had to cancel. I don't know what y'all been doing for the last 6 or 7 or 8 minutes. Listen quietly. The wonderful ghost story. Please give Amanda Lawrence another round of applause. Storytelling in Appalachia, as we talk about in and out different parts of the night, the stories that come out of lyrics that tell a tale, the stories that come out of poetry and writing, but there's nothing like the stories that come out of families. And once again this evening we've got Leslie Shelley from Ball Mountain, Georgia, there in the foothills of Appalachia, who's going to come out and tell us again. Ball ground. Oh. I don't even know what I said right there, but Ball Ground. Okay, from Ball Ground, Georgia. Thank you for Mom and Dad for bringing that out. From Ball Ground, Georgia, please welcome Leslie Shelley to the stage.
If you're wondering, I think Canuck's been into that moonshine.
Yeah.
before I go any further, let me see what time. I would like for you to all give yourselves a round of applause. You're the best audience I've heard in so long. Y'all been fantastic. This lady that yelled out ball ground is the reason probably 20 years ago that I started telling stories. Yeah, I told faith-based stories in our church and went from there. All right, have y'all been hot this summer? Ooh, yeah, it's been one of the hottest summers that I can remember, and it's brought back memories. When I was little, they had not invented daycare centers. We had grandmas, and they came with hickory switches. And every summer, when our moms went back to work in the school system, we got dropped off, with our grandma. And we were farmers, and she was a farming woman, and there was work to do. She didn't bat an eye at 14 grandkids. She still put up a bushel of beans. So we were there about this time of the year, and it was so hot. And she'd get up real early to get most of her work done. And then, because all of us children were underfoot and hot and ill, she'd say, all right, let's go to the river. And that meant, because it would be leisurely that afternoon for her, she just took a bushel of beans to break. And we would get that old bushel basket. The oldest two of us little cousins would get the handles, and she'd throw a dishpan in there and her old hickory butcher knife, just for the heck of it. And then we'd head down to the truck. Now, the farm truck only drove in second gear. All the time. It was a bouncy ride, even when it wasn't bouncy. And she'd say, grab one of those watermelons under the oak tree cooling there that your pa brought up. So we'd climb in the back of that truck, us kids, and that bushel of beans and that watermelon, and she'd climb in the front. And it wouldn't crank. You had to roll it off and pop the clutch to get it going. And we'd head across through the field, through the pasture, through the cornfield, by the silage pit, till we got to the river. And it wasn't until I was grown up that I figured out we had so many good swimming spots, and they were age appropriate. We didn't go to the big hole at the bend that's 20 feet deep. She took us to the island. Tom Sawyer had nothing on us. We'd get out of that truck, and she would say, grab that basket of beans, and you two grabbed a watermelon, and we'd head to the riverbank. And my papa, Sam, had cut us a trail down. It was that Georgia sandy, glowing mica field dirt. And we'd go down that bank to the river. Now, the island on the side of it, the river on the side closest to where we were going in, it was shallow. It got about knee deep on a grown-up, but it was swift. And on the other side of that island, well, it was deep. It was at least 4.5 feet deep. So we'd start across, and she would send the two biggest holding that handles on that bushel basket, and then the next oldest would come behind them carrying that watermelon, and then all the rest of us little ones, we held hands. She got the first one's hand, and she pretty much drug us through that current to the island. Now we got to the island, and she had a sandbar on the end with a chair there all summer. The little ones played on the shallow side. That river was so beautiful then. You could see the bottom. There were Carly bottoms and horny-head minnows. Now I think they call them endangered brown darters. And we had rocks to play with and moss, and it was perfect for the little ones. Ankle deep and so cold it took your breath away. The other side, if you went straight up our island, through the trees, there was rapids. And we would go to that top running fast as we could and body jump right into the rapids. And you had to swim as fast as you could to get around. And then we'd climb out and do it again. About halfway down on the deep, dangerous side, just under the water, was a rock. And we'd get on that rock and jump off, and then we'd do belly flops and cannonballs and all that kind of fun, dangerous stuff. And my grandma, she'd be sitting there breaking beans, watching. Her one rule was, If you float past me, you are on your own. I didn't know till later she couldn't swim a lick. But we was having a grand old time. Now, you know how when kids get wore down, they get mean. And then they get dangerous. And she looked out to the rock, and the bigger kids was starting to do things like forward flips and backward flips and dives. And she stood up and gave that two-fingered whistle and said, "Come on in, it's watermelon time." So we sat on the end of that island. Some of them wearing straggly green moss they took off the rocks. And she cut that watermelon as many slices as we needed. And of course, we said, "Tell us a story, me Mom." She says, I think you've heard all my stories. I don't know if I told you this one. Long time ago in these mountains, when the animals could still talk, old possum and turtle decided it was persimmon picking time. It was hot, those persimmons were ripe and sticky and juicy, and old possum said, "I'll climb the tree and drop them down, and you stay on the bottom with your shiny shell, because yellow jackets are bad where those persimmons been dropping, and they won't sting that shell." So they worked that out. Possum went up there and he'd pick a persimmon and drop it, turtle catch it and pile it up. Possum picked one, dropped it, turtle caught it, piled it up. It was going good. They were having a big time. And all of a sudden, out of the woods, old Mr. Wolf came slinking. "What you boys doing?" he said. And he sat right there by Turtle. Old Possum said, "We're picking persimmons." Wolf said, Possum picked a persimmon and dropped it, and Turtle reached up to grab it, and old Wolf snapped it up. 2 more times, same thing happened. Then finally, old Turtle, he looked up at Possum and he winked real slow. Turtles wink slow, you know. He said, "Pick a big, big persimmon, big old juicy one, and drop it down here for Mr. Wolf." And old Possum, he grinned. And he did. And he dropped that big old persimmon, and Wolf jumped up and snapped. And nothing. He couldn't get it down. He couldn't get it out. Wolf commenced to choking and strangling, and pretty soon he flopped over on the ground with his forepaws just kind of twitching. Well, old Turtle said to Possum, "We better get going." And they did. But about that time, the whole wolf pack came out of the woods, and they were laughing and making fun. "You've been tricked by a turtle." Whew. Finally, one of them just whopped old Wolf on the back, and he hopped up, and he was mad. His tail was just slinking mad. He said, "I'm going to get that turtle." And he lit out after it, and he called up to him, you know, and snapped that turtle up and headed to the wolf den. When he got there, the other wolves had a fire burning and a clay pot full of boiling water. And Wolf said, "I'm going to throw you in that pot, and we will have turtle stew." Old Turtle polished up his shiny nice shell, and he said, "You throw me in there, and I'll kick it to pieces, and I'll get out." Well, Fox was getting madder, and he says, "Well, I'll just chunk you in that fire, and we'll have roasted turtle." Turtle said, "Just chunk me in there. I'll just roll around with my shell and put out every ember." Fox was so mad, and Mr. Turtle was thinking, and he says, "Oh, you throw me in that pot and I'll smash it. Throw me in that fire and I'll put it out. But please, Mr. Wolf, don't throw me in the river." Well, Mr. Wolf said, "Oh, yes, I will," and snapped him up and ran off to the river. He got to the bank on the side with that turtle in his mouth and went 1, 2, and 3. Chunked that turtle. It went flying through the air and landed in that water halfway across the river. Old Turtle was laughing and laughing. He went under and swam and came out on the other bank. And he crawled out on that sandbar, still laughing. But when he sat down, his sitter didn't feel right. And his beautiful shiny shell, it didn't feel right. And he looked around, and where that wolf had chunked him in that water, he had hit a rock just under the water, cracked his shell in 12 places. And until this very day, if you see old Mr. Turtle, why, he's still got the scars on his shell from that day. Still does. And my grandma, you know, she said, and that's the story of the turtle, wolf, and possum. Now, you kids get back in that water. You got a few more minutes to play, but stay off of that rock. Thank you so much.
How about another round of applause for that lady from Fall Ground, Georgia? Wow. Turtle soup, I'll never think of it the same, actually. That's good. Well, we have a fun thing that's going to happen because 2 months ago, I didn't know this young lady at all. And she showed up one night at an open mic that we do here in Hayesville with 2 of her original songs. And just to make sure everything was okay, her mom came by too with her, which was fun. And she played some great music. And she is a rising singer-songwriter. And she has 2 wonderful songs she's going to share with us tonight. And she is from Andrews, North Carolina. She's local and she's in the mountains of North Carolina. Please give a warm welcome to Eleni Davis.
Hi, my name is Alani, and it's a hard one, I'm not gonna lie. And this is my original song called Willow May. Clothe yourself in bright colors, stood as straight as an arrow. Her smile was wide and her garden was narrow. Her heart was around and others were too. She'd weave up her hair with the flowers she grew. She grew up on the move, a nomad's child, forced to linger, born to survive. She hated stillness like songbirds hate quiet. With those tall picket fences, the nurse had been tied. Willow May, won't you stay, 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 stay? They'll chase the runaway. We all know you escaped. If I write what I know, and it's a blessing to have known you. Your memories bleed into myth. I can't recall you weaving fables. We whisper around cradles till we can't This song is called Mosaic. It's funny how so few thoughts original now spilled out, scattered across the floor. I still listen to the artist you showed me. We hate those lyrics now. They're everything, everything to me. Everything to me. I catch myself making your faces in the mirror. It's obvious we traded manners over 8 years. Truth be told, I wouldn't change your effect on me. It's proof of our shared time. It was all we had and all we need. All we need. They say people come and go, Sunday's always out. Leave the door open in case, just in case. And I'm a mosaic of everything that I love, and I'll keep a piece of you with me. I'll keep you with me. You've left indelible marks. Rector's art. My heart is a mess made of stickers and scars. You were there from the start. Baby, that's the worst part. Good and bad will shape me, and I'll keep a piece of you with me. 'Cause they say people come and go, Sunday's always out. Leave the door open in case, just in case. And I'm a mosaic of everything that I love, and I'll keep a piece of you with me. Oh, I'll keep a piece of you with me. I'll keep. Oh, I'll keep a piece of you with me. I'll
Okay. Thankful so much. Thank you. Please give another round of applause for Lonnie Davis. Wow. Rising star. Next up, if you think about the mountains of Tuscany, you know, when you drive up, turn out of Georgia and you're coming up 69, and those mountains rise up before you, and you just want to stop the car and kiss the ground and thank God you live here. You know, yeah, so, yeah, and it's a beautiful sight. And about 100 years ago, a family moved to Tuscany, and they opened a general store. 100 years ago, general store. And today, you will find a general store and an ice cream shop on the square, on the courthouse square in Hayesville, North Carolina. And you'll find, on a good day, Mr. Rob Tiger. Mr. Rob Tiger, Rob has really put the M in music when it comes to music here in this area. We're very fortunate to have him as part of our and leader of our singer-songwriters showcase. And you just got to come out and see and hear the music that he brings to town. But he also performs. So please give a big round of applause to welcome Mr. Rob Tiger.
Canute's too kind.
Studying history, Rob.
I was listening to the last story, and I heard that I heard a reference to silage, and it just brought back memories of my brother that's closest in age to me, Jim, and I helped my grandfather put silage up every year in a pit, a concrete lined pit, and it was a pretty smelly operation, especially after it had about a week and of fermenting. And my granddad had a friend in Blairsville who was in the sorghum business, and he would always bring the previous year's sorghum syrup that he hadn't sold and just give it to my granddad. And we'd stand out there and pour gallons of it over the top of that silage, and then covered black plastic, and it would cook for a couple of weeks, and you know, we had to make our own entertainment, and so after it got fermenting real well, we would slip down there and open the pit up and turn 2 or 3 cows in there. Some of my granddad's prized heifers, you know, and watch them eat till they fell over. Drunk on silage. But I want to thank Canute for putting these storytelling events together. Storytelling is kind of a part of the fabric of the community, and so an Appalachian get-together wouldn't be complete without a murder ballad and maybe something about making corn liquor. So I wrote this song called Pretty Peggy, and it's some people would say she was a serial killer. I would prefer to call her a vigilante, just doing the work of the Lord, you know. But anyway, well, it's in a ballad form, so it's not a 2-minute song, but she was a pretty bad woman, had a tough upbringing, and
Billy Joe pistol
whipped and cut him, rolled him up in some old barbed wire, and left him for the varmints. He's hoping it'd be a bear. When the buzzard started circling, the old sheriff made a call, said he found a killer and a horse thief from out in Arkansas. He must have got tangled up in a barbed wire fence. He hadn't fared too well. He's resting against a poplar tree, dead and gone to hell. He fell for her angel voice and her crooked smile, and he fell for the spells she put on him with them diamond sparkling eyes. He fell so hard he didn't want to get up. He thought love would set him free. He took the bait and met his fate way up on Shooting Creek. Bob's old boys come sneaking in, gonna kill Billy Joe and Pretty Peggy. So they loaded them up on buckshot lead, whether or not they was ready. And they sunk them in a hole on Shooting Creek and bid them a fine goodbye. Took a few nips and skinny dipped under that midnight sky. Well, the very next morning, Peggy slipped away, took the horse and Billy Joe's gold. She might as well have killed old Billy Joe, cause her leaving took his soul. And he wondered about old bad Bob and how many boys before might have fell for the charms of Peggy and ended up at hell's hot door. Cause he fell for her angel voice and her crooked smile. He fell for the spell she put on him with them diamond sparkling eyes. He fell so hard he didn't want to get up. He thought love would set him free. It's a mystery how she found him there way up on Shooting Creek. He loaded his guns and saddled his horse, took some whiskey for his pain. Sometimes you do what you have to do and suffer the cold, cold rain. Sometimes you do what you have to do and suffer the cold, cold rain. Where she shot him, way up on the head of Tusquity. He was loaded up on buckshot lead, whether or not he was ready. The last anybody heard of Pretty Peggy, she was leaving Oklahoma City. She met an old, rich old man. They found him dead in the ditch, down the road to Corpus Christi. This song, if any of you have heard me play, you've probably heard me play this tune called Lightning Road. And a good friend of mine, songwriter friend of mine, Paul Jones, who his brother was a Baptist preacher, and Paul took up that profession too for a spell. But I had this song finished, and he said, "There's nothing in there about the Shiner going to church or anything." He said most of them did, They tithed to keep everybody off their tails. So I said, well, write a line for it. So he did. hills making the finest corn. It had been a family business since long before he was born. Yeah, late that night we heard his engine moan. They're thirsty down in Georgia, dry as a bone. These hell wheels when he loaded up to gone. Said the devil himself wasn't fast enough to catch him on a lightning road. China, Georgia, and up to Tennessee. Sometimes he'd run by the light of the moon, keep me insane. Then he'd go to church on Sunday, put his money in the plate. Some called him the apostle, others called him the devil's thief. But he made that run for 20 years, and he never had been caught. But the government wanted taxes paid on all that liquor bought. Yeah, late that night we heard his engine moan. They're thirsty up in Tennessee, dry as a bone. He was on wheels when he loaded up to gone. Said the devil himself wasn't fast enough to catch him on the lightning road. Down the winding stairs, he sailed across the glade, and then he saw the lights of Shooting Creek, and he thought he had it made. But there was a roadblock up ahead, and he was feeling kind of tired, so he turned her off the overlook and a flaming ball of fire. Well, they never found his body, no trace of a burning car. Uncle Willie seemed to disappear, kind of like that shooting star. Yeah, late that night we heard his engine moan. They're thirsty down on Grasstown, dry as a bone. He was on wheels when we loaded up to gone. Said the devil himself wasn't fast enough to catch him on the lightning road. Thicket on a creek called the Hurricane. There's an old man making moonshine, but nobody knows his name. When old Jack Frost comes calling and the leaves are on the ground, you can see the hood of his 41 Ford and those revenuers never found.
Wow, what about Rob Tiger? Well, we decided to bring out some more musicians to bring this to a finale, but as we're standing here, I want to definitely thank Anthony and Anthony and Jim in the sound and light booth. So please give them a big round of applause. And this guy right here keeps wandering around, David Pate, with a stage manager. And definitely want to thank the volunteers and everyone that helped us put this production on. It couldn't work without all of those folks and the folks in the back office and things. So Lonnie is going to join us again with some new friends. So with a little luck, David's going to send him out here as our stage manager. So please welcome Alani Davis again, and all the folks that we can get that are the wildflower pickers. Yeah. fun learning this, except for Alani, who already knew it. This song is going to be Bury Me Beneath the Willow. Alani, Rob, and the Wildflower Pickers. Give them a big round of applause. And also, if all the other performers will come out or down wherever you are, and we'll just join in with this, and we'll all learn it together. I'm gonna go get it. Come on in. Bring your guitar. Come on. We want to thank all of you folks tonight, and we also want you to go out and tell a story and make some music in your life. And come on back and see us down the road. We loved having you tonight. Thank you again for being such a great audience. Big round of applause for the audience, folks. Thank you for yourself. Let's give a little bow here. Just a little bow. Thank you again.
Don't forget all the good shows coming up in September.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a Taylor Swift tribute show coming up next week, and then there's a month of really good stuff coming in September.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Woo! Thank you so much. Thanks. Amen, brother. Good.